Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. My name's Ben. On deck tonight, our steady girl. Well, not well, just our reliable lady. I send you a text at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're ready to go at 2:30, huh, Joel? No.
Hi everyone.
Joel hates me so much.
Well, I have downtime and I enjoy chatting with you. What can I say?
Could have just said yeah.
That didn't make it any better. Whatever.
Text me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll be good to go by 2:30. Now I'll tell you that. All right. From the hot part of the country, Mr. Tyler Turner.
Hello, gentlemen.
And from the rainy hippie part, Ansa Kim. What's up, man? Long time no see, man.
Yeah, Kim, we've missed having you on.
Fuck.
Yes, because my freaking airline lost my gun. After Canada.
Well, you've been busy winning matches, so I guess
that's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess it's all good in the hood, man. Well, you guys know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic. So who would like to go first?
I can go. I just mentioned about the lost firearm.
You have airline. Like the worst luck with airlines.
Yes. So I went to Canada, Quebec for nationals, Canadian nationals, and going over there going in was terrible experience too. I mentioned it in previous podcast. Now when I was coming out of the country, there was another issue. So first, going in was Air Canada, but coming out was American Airline. My original flight was to Philly and then to Seattle and come home nice and easy. But when in Quebec, the flight got delayed by 2 hours. And of course, I missed the connecting flight. And they didn't have any more flights left to Seattle that night. So basically, they didn't give me hotel or anything. So I had to get a hotel for like 5 hours only. And then I was flying out. And they gave me a different route. So now I'm not going to Seattle straight, but going to Dallas and then to Seattle. So I checked in my firearm and all easy. And when I got to Seattle, my 2 regular suitcase, I had 3 total. My wife was there too. So regular suitcase without firearm came out, and my other one with firearm, they had like a orange mark on it. So they didn't come to the regular carousel. So I went to the office, and then I told them, hey, I'm trying to pick up my suitcase. And they're like, what's your suitcase, the tag number? And I gave them, and they're like, oh, we don't have it. They were saying it's either not scanned in Dallas or not gotten onto the flight in the first place. And then now I said, well, I have firearm in the suitcase. And then now the agents were like,
now they care.
Yeah, making different face. Oh, okay.
That usually gets their attention when you play that card.
Yes. Now they started making phone calls, and they're like giving words like firearm in the suitcase, blah, blah, blah. And then they were basically saying it's not going to be a couple hours. It's going to be more than that. So I told them, they basically said, if we find it, we'll contact you, and you're most likely going to come back to us and pick it up from the airport because they can't mail it to me with the firearms. So I told them, hey, I don't live in Seattle. I live 2 hours from Seattle, so I don't want to drive down. Can you just ship it? And they eventually said, oh, then we'll send it to your local airport, Bellingham. And then now it's supposed to be like a day. They were saying they were sure it was somewhere in Dallas, like right before I left. And then, okay, then can I get it by tomorrow? And yeah, you'll probably get it by tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I'm not getting any contact back. And I called them at night, and they were saying, well, it's left in Seattle, but Bellingham's supposed to contact you. And I contact Bellingham, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So next day, I went to the airport.
Jesus Christ.
Running around. And then I finally found my suitcase somewhere in the corner of the office. Nobody knowing that, because The
No.
agent in Seattle wrote my phone number and my name wrong.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, the joys of travel.
Yes. So I would say if you're considering taking American Airlines with firearms, just be careful. Because
Tough to
one
argue
might
with a sales
contact
pitch
me.
like that.
It wasn't only me had an issue with American Airlines. My friends, two friends contacted me. They were like, "Hey, I had the same issue."
I've had bags delayed, but never just lost.
Mm. So I got it back in like 3 days, which was okay.
Yeah, that's a while.
Mm.
All right, so all's well, and the match went well for you.
Yes, I had a good time. 10
And
rounds.
then you made a talk through, and you put it on Training Group.
Yes, it was a very nice one.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, people did like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell us about anything about the match?
Yes, the match. Well, it was my first time shooting 10 rounds, but they made it some good risk, not too crazy risk, but some places you could take risks. So, for example, you can go 11 rounds, then you may be able to save like 0.5, maybe up to 1 second if your reload is not good. So there are places where you can push 11 rounds and then you can gain like a second, or you can play safe and just reload in between kind of thing. And then there are places that you had to take risk in order to stay on top. For example, there were two activating poppers that activates like 3 different movers. And like the first whatever activates will activate 2 moving targets. And then the second one will activate the last one, whichever left or right you shoot. And a lot of people shot either one and then shoot moving target and then wait. So basically super safe plan. And then if you wanted to be competitive, there were no other choice. You had to shoot both popper and then activate 3 moving target at the same time. So there was no other way to stay competitive. And I thought that was very interesting. And one of them was like a disappearing target. So if you get it right, get the timing right, even if you make a mic, miss a shot on that disappearing target, it doesn't hurt you. But a lot of people didn't think that way. Like their mindset wasn't aggressive. So they were just kind of stuck-minded. Oh, I'm just gonna shoot whatever is the safest. So I saw some people, even if you risk, there's no penalty mic, so there's no reason not to push on that. And I thought that was pretty interesting. It shows who's stuck-minded a little bit. You know, you got to take risk. I mean, even if you want to play safe, in that kind of case where no penalty mic is there, then you really got to take the risk. And stage was very smart.
My favorite target presentation of that match, watching your videos, was the one where the activating steel was blocked by a no-shoot steel.
Oh,
And if you hit, now I know not to bring out a sore issue, but if you hit the no-shoot, it would like cause the paper target to not activate. I thought that was brilliant. Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. That stood out. I thought that was a brilliant target presentation.
Yeah.
Forcing you to then like take a tiny sliver. What was it, like 3 inches of the IPSC target? That was fantastic.
Yes, it was smart move.
Yeah.
And it was on the swinging bridge, so you either have to wait until it settles down and your gun is stable, but nobody want to do that. So the risk factor over there is very high.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, excellent. Tyler, what do you got going on, man?
I thought I would talk about how important it is. This applies to any level, but especially like a new guy, if you're just getting into it. I think it's important to find like a core group of guys. Find some guys, make some friends with people that you can travel around to majors with. Kind of form a squad. That was really good for my development when, you know, I made there's a core group of us in the Atlanta area. We generally travel to all the majors together. It helps because we'll all like basically work on stage plans together when we go the day before. We have a regional Facebook group where we have like drills of the month, talk about training issues, stuff like that. But especially for majors, if you got a core group of guys that like to go around shooting majors, I think it really makes a difference when you have guys, you have certain strengths in stage planning. They may see things differently. When you kind of crowdsource a stage plan, that's been really good for me. And I would encourage new guys, especially, build a group. And I think, Joel, you host training sessions with your friends and local guys. And,
Yeah.
And I think that's a really, really smart way to supercharge your training, especially if it's important to you to attend a lot of majors.
That's one thing that I've always lacked, is to have a group of people around me that are shooting a lot. I feel like I've lacked that for a long time. So that is a nice thing, a value adder, huh?
Yeah. Well, and it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun when you're able to carpool to places together. The ride is fun.
Yeah.
You're with your guys.
I don't live in a big metro area, so I just never had the option of, hey, all the people from here are going to that match.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of that for me. Makes me sad.
But that's good, Tyler. And then you guys all help each other, so everybody wins. You all get sharper, and yeah, it's a net win.
You have guys to drink beer with after the match.
Or
you booze, you lose,
like
is what Joel would say.
Lemonade. Yeah, this is true. Drinking is kind of dumb, but I mean, hanging out with your friends and having like Gatorade Zero or something's pretty okay.
You're a wild man, Joel.
I know. All right, Ben, you
Yes.
came to us with the topic. Let me set it up for you.
Okay.
So when I went and trained with Ben and Gaston, I'm pretty needy sometimes. So for training group, I'll like, hey Ben, this is a video I think you need to make. So here, just make this for me, and I think you need to make it happen. So one of the things that I wanted Ben and Gaston to talk about was a cure for hosing and a cure for being a turtle. Everyone says like, well, this is how you should shoot. It's like, okay, yeah, I got that. I should be like that. But what if I'm on one end or the other, where I'm too deliberate, I'm taking forever, but I'm getting the A's, or I'm going like crazy and I'm not hitting anything. So there's a video, I don't think it's been dropped yet, Ben, on Training Group. It's
I'm
queued up.
checking now. I have not dropped it. Not
Well,
yet.
that's Training Group members have to look forward to. That's Ben and Gaston talking. It was quite lengthy. But for this, I think it'd be a good conversation just to
Hold
talk
on.
about, if you would.
Checking.
Fine, sorry.
Checking to see where it is in the rotation here. Man. Well, the problem with my queue is that Wansik's made so many videos lately that it's really screwing up my queue, man. Yes, it is turtles and hosers, or how to fix these things respectively. So many longtime listeners of the podcast have heard the term turtle and hoser, right, Joel?
Yes.
All right. So I would say most people, definitely a majority of people, fall on the spectrum of turtle or hoser. A turtle is somebody who is predisposed to get their hits. Is a good way of putting it. And another way of putting it is that, hey, if I put that person under stress, or like, hey, it's a match now, you got to go do good, they'll just shoot points. And I would say they tend to over aim. A better way of describing it is they'll rely on marksmanship fundamentals to save them. So it'll be hard front sight focus for everything, confirming, the sight comes out of recoil, they confirm the sight's back consciously, fire another shot. And even if it's, not needed for a target, maybe it's a 3-yard target, they'll still do that. Because they're a turtle, and when they want to do well, they make sure they aim everything real good. And that's how they're wired. Hosers are the other way. Those are people who focus on, I would say in their training, they focus on stage or drill time. And when they're shooting a match, they tend to put up fast times. or fast for them, fast for their class, but tend to train wreck a lot of stuff and miss a lot of stuff. And you'd say that they are generally not very disciplined, or at least disciplined wrong. So people
Ricky
tend to
Bobby.
fall into those. Yeah, Ricky Bobby. That's a fair description, right, Tyler?
Yep.
Would you say that a majority of people fall into that?
Yeah, it does seem to be pretty binary, actually, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, and everybody gives the like, hey, this is how you should shoot. But it's like, hey, what if I'm one of these? Like, how do I get out of the rut I'm in?
It's not even really a what if, because you're probably going to be one of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. True.
Yeah. So that should set the stage, and then the way to fix it is basically setting up your training to counteract your predisposition. So I was predisposed to be a turtle. That was always my thing. And I spent a lot of time in my training figuring out how to force myself to shoot faster. And what that almost always meant is I'm still going to be disciplined at shooting. I'm just going to pick different ways to aim. So instead of hard front sight focus, confirm the sight, when coming out of recoil for every shot, it'll be, hey, look through your sights on the close targets. And you'll just see your sight dancing on the target. And that's okay. And spending a lot of time just getting used to that. Like different aiming paradigms for different targets. Like as a turtle, I found that invaluable. And another thing that really works well for them is giving them permission to miss or permission to fail in drills. Where it's like, hey, nope, this is what I need the time to be, and you have permission to fail. So make this time happen. Like those are very valuable tools for people in the turtle camp.
Did par times help you at all? Did you set up par times like where it has to be this time?
Yeah, that would be the same thing. It'd be like, hey, this is the time. And then you might start complaining, like, oh, but my hits were like this, and I did this and this. And it's like, nope, don't care. This is the time we need. And like, you're going to get that time, and then we'll go from there. Those sorts of tools are helpful for turtles, especially. For hosers, finding ways to discipline them, it can be really tough. Like I think basically setting up situations where that person's not allowed to fail, where it's like, hey, these are what the hits need to be. I don't give a fuck what the time is. You need to make these hits. Setting up it's easy to enforce when you're watching, like as a coach, it's pretty easy to enforce that stuff. But those people, like, they have a hard time in practice disciplining themselves, quite honestly, because they'll start chasing times when they should just be like, hey, just shoot this drill, shoot this stage, shoot this exercise, shoot it comfortably, and don't mess it up, and do it 5 times in a row. And they have a very hard time doing that stuff.
So like scoring an aggregate would be a good fix, do you think?
Scoring an aggregate, or just setting up an excessively difficult exercise and saying, hey, shoot this without a penalty, and then shoot it twice in a row without a penalty, and shoot it 3 times without a penalty. That sort of stuff. Those people, they have a hard time with it. But basically, you're always working to train yourself with it in mind what you're predisposed to do. Whether you're predisposed to rushing or to turtling.
So if you're a turtle, what are good drills that you would recommend for people to do? Like, I don't care what the hits are. You need to, like...
Well, it might not be a situation where it's like, hey, I might not care what the hits are. It's just like, hey, do L-pres in 5 seconds. Depending on where they're at in their development. Mm-hmm. I mean, do L-pres in 5 seconds. Do it in 6 seconds. Do it in 8 seconds. Or whatever. I mean, you just have a drill, whatever it is, maybe accelerator. Let's say they're shooting that in 10 seconds comfortably. It'll be, hey, if it's more than 8 seconds, we're just not going to score it. How does that sound? It's over 8 seconds, we tape it up, and it's a 0. Your score is 0. So then you're forcing them. Nope, it will be under 8, and then we'll score it that way, and then start paying attention to reading your sights like this on the mid-range and the close target, and on the long target, you can kind of do what you normally do, and blah blah blah. We'll work at it that way. Those are very useful tools for turtles. That's the kind of stuff that I did. It's like, hey, build drill, 2 seconds. That's what it needs to be. Period. And then I spent some time where I would, be shooting and hitting all over the place on the target, and I'd be like, oh, those hits are terrible. But it's like, no, it has to be 2 seconds. It has to be. So then, you kind of hop on the learning curve that way. I don't know, Wanzik, what do you think? Does this kind of match your read on the situation or what?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I was a turtle in 2017. Ben told me to, hey, shoot a bill drill and put up 3 targets, basically Blake drill. And then in between transitions, you gotta have the same time as you would shoot bill drill at one target. Because my transition, I was over confirming. So put 3 targets, pick 1 target, shoot 6 shots, bill drill, and then check the time, and then shoot two different targets, and then check your time, and it has to match. And that really helped me.
Yeah. So usually for turtles, setting a time gate, like not even a goal, it's like, no, it must be this time. Like that stuff is helpful. I think turtles have a much easier time in competition than hosers,
I would agree.
but they have a much harder time in training.
One suggestion I would add is if you are a turtle, I would attempt to train with a hoser of roughly the same skill level, and vice versa. I think that's helpful. If you guys are roughly equivalent skills and you just
Oh.
get there the different way,
Been
that
very
could
helpful for you training with Micah, hasn't it?
It
I was gonna
really
ask.
has. It really has, because he's a hoser, I'm a turtle, and I don't want to get beat on time, and I know he doesn't like me beating him on points, and so us training together was fantastic, especially in the early days when we're coming up. But yeah, I really think that's a good idea.
I was going to ask you which side you started on, Tyler. I didn't know
Oh,
which.
turtle all the way.
I kind of
Like,
suspected that.
Tyler
Yeah.
hits the things, my man.
yeah. Giving yourself permission to miss, I think that's spot on, because when you give yourself permission to miss in practice, at least, it's almost liberating.
Yeah.
This sounds strange, but it's almost liberating when I can go out and shoot a mic and be okay with it, because I understand like the broader context of what I'm doing. Like before, I mean, it would just, mics would ruin my day, literally. But I think that's good for a turtle.
Yeah, and I come from the opposite side. I was like, yeah, maybe I had a mic or two, but look at the time, man. That was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like I can wreck close targets and
Yeah.
gun handling. That was all I need to do, right? So
It's
So
raw
on
time.
PSDG, there's a perfect drill for no matter if you are a turtle or hoser, there's a confirmation drill. Basically, you're shooting with 3 different confirmation. Basically, confirmation 1 forces yourself to shoot indexing. So whenever your body aligns with your target, you have to fire without waiting to see the front sight. And confirmation 2 and 3 will be shooting front sight focus or blurry front sight kind of thing. So basically, confirmation drill helps you to develop different gears. Basically, what it is for hoser, they have 6th gear because it's the fastest gear. They always put it on 6th gear and then running in the fastest gear. And of course, if it's too fast, you're gonna, make a big mistake. But turtle, you're just putting on 1st gear and then just having a good control but super slow. So basically, you need to develop multiple gears. So you're going proper gear depends on the target difficulty or the heat factor of the stage, or how much you want to risk and gain points against other competitor. And on PSG, I made a drill called confirmation drill, and you're developing each confirmation style, whether if it's a 3R target where you don't even look at the front sight to shoot at it, you just point at it. Basically, point shoot is confirmation 1, and 2 and 3, which you start using front sight now. So you're basically developing different style of aiming, so to say, because a lot of people think aiming is only associated with the front sight, which is not correct. Point shooting is also part of aiming with your body alignment. So at 3-yard target, 5-yard target, you definitely don't really need to see the front sight sharp, no reason. You can still shoot alphas with body alignment kind of thing, or index shooting or point shooting, whatever term is it. So you gotta just develop different gears so you can shoot with multiple gears, basically.
Yes, and the interesting thing there to point out for people who didn't catch it, the gears aren't really how fast you go, but it's how you are aiming or how you're sure about what you're hitting.
How you confirm things.
Yeah. I like that word too. confirmation man. That confirmation drill's been excellent, by the way. I
Yeah,
really like that.
did too.
No, it's been going good for us in the gold section, I should say, Joel, with the private coaching of the guys. The guys working on confirmation drill, that's easy to just be like, hey, confirmation 2 on that, confirmation 3 on that, and quit fucking around. And it's a very simple set of terminology for people to understand.
Gotcha.
I went and scrolled through the gold section last night, actually, just, seeing what's up with people, and I saw that a lot.
Yes.
Man, there is a lot going on in the gold section. Like that.
There is.
I can only
It's
see
crazy.
Well, all right. You guys see that because you're moderators, so most people have no clue what's going on in there.
It's nuts
Yeah. Well, good.
in a good way.
Yeah. So what's left? What do we got to? Did we get everybody? You did.
No, me.
Oh,
Did I
Joel.
talk? Did I talk? No,
I think you did, Joel. I think you've been doing this in all night.
this is true. I have a show and tell. It's nothing super exciting, but I was just thinking today about when I'm at matches, stuff that I have that other people wish they had. And it's not like a pacer gun for a change, but just like basic stuff that everyone should have, but most people don't have. So the first thing that comes to mind is a mag brush.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised how many matches I go to people and especially if it's a match not at my club, maybe I don't know. It's going to be kind of like Ben's range. It's kind of sandy, or maybe it's really dusty, really dry. You drop a magazine on the ground and it's just smoked. Like you get a magazine full of dust, and then you kind of see somebody looking around like they're just like holding this magazine in their hand, like, "Hey, would you like to borrow?" "Oh yeah, I'd love to borrow that." Like they thought it never crossed their mind. So I like the Arredondo mag brush a lot. It's got kind of a little tab on the end that's perfect if you have like a push button base plate. But anyway, it's like, I don't know, $10. So you should have that. The other thing that's a no-brainer is a towel. This one happens to say Holiday Inn Express on it, but whatever yours says is fine. But bringing a couple towels with you is a good idea. If it's raining, you need to wipe off your mags, mud, pro grip, sweat, whatever. Maybe just dry off your face if it's sweating a lot, whatever. It's just have a couple towels, have one in your range bag, have a couple in your car. You never know when it's going to come in handy, but it's one of those things you should have with you. The last thing, fortunately, I don't need it very often, but it saved a lot of friends. It's just a screwdriver set. This one's like a whole whopping $10 from the pro shop, but I love this one a lot because it's got, I think it's 33 bits on it. But basically, the driver just pulls out in the center. It's magnetic, and then it's got 11 bits on each of these. Get the angle right so you can see it. But it's got a ton of bits, and it's like a super small little compact package. It fits perfectly in the corner of my range bag. So you've got like standard Phillips, Allen, Torx, all that stuff. So another deal.
What's that?
This is Gunmaster. It's the pro shop has them. I looked for it before I left work to make sure they still had them. They're like $10, and I'm sure you could find them off Amazon or anywhere else. But it's just so handy because if your grip screw comes loose, or whatever, maybe something on your holster, a mag pouch, or your friends like they're looking at the same deal, like looking around, you see the guy like, "Hey, what do you need?" Like, "Hey, I have that thing that you need right here. Let me retrieve it for you." So it's just like a couple of things that like this all combines like, let's say $25, but that little small stuff can save your match, especially if you have like malfunctions because your mags aren't cleaned, or some screw comes loose or you lose something. So just a no-brainer, stuff you should be taking with you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn Express is a strange thing to have embroidered on her towels. Can you explain that?
I do not know, sir.
Just curious about that.
No idea.
So that's it. We got it. We got it nailed it, Joel.
That's it. Just have that stuff with you. It'll make your life better. And if you don't need it, your friends will need it, and you could be a good friend and loan it to them.
You're almost helpful to a fault, Joel.
That's just me. I don't know.
I know. You don't know how else to do it. All right. Dear Ben and crew, this will be my first year attending USPSA Nationals. What preparations do you guys go through for a match of this level? Okay, so he put in a list of questions here. What do you say I do a rotation?
Oh, boy.
Yeah?
Let's go.
All right, Wanzik, what do you do for training leading up to a big match like Nationals?
Yes. So the very first Nationals, was my probably third or fourth major match. So by the time I was used to what I prepare.
Oh no, I forget that. What do you want to do for training leading up to
Yeah.
nationals?
So first, I check the diagrams, stage diagrams, but I do not care about like where the target is and the picture itself. I don't really care about it, but I just look at the starting position and how many one-handed shooting or anything irregular like classifier style shooting or any moving targets. So I try to see what's the high risk factor in the stage or whole match. So if there's a couple one-handed shooting stuff, maybe a lot of moving stuff, I mean moving target stuff, then those are not something that I regularly train a lot. So I would start training on that so my weakness is no longer hindering my performance. So that's one thing. And then another thing is I definitely check the range, the location, and also some previous videos from the range. So I check out the terrain. If the terrain is, it could be, if it's muddy in some situation, or if it's very gravelly, or very nice grass, sand, all that stuff. So I would prepare my outfit or my shoes according to that. And also I would see the weather of the location. So I keep on track on the weather, maybe like a week or two before the match. So I am preparing if I need any rain clothes or stuff like that. And those are the biggest things. Everything else, I make sure I do not load my ammo a week before. I load my ammo at least a month ahead. Or start the process of loading my ammo if I load. I sometimes use factory. So basically, I load my stuff and then try to check the power factor at least like a month or a couple weeks before. So I am not rushing and end up shooting bad ammo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, any special gear preparation you do for nationals?
Gear preparation specifically, I'm going to be very OCD about putting all new wear parts in my primary gun.
How many rounds on that to test it?
I'm probably going to do that 2 or 3 weeks before the match. And so in that time, I may shoot a case through it. So somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 rounds or so. That's a ballpark figure. But, nothing's going to, if the part is good, nothing's going to break in 3,000 to 5,000 rounds. Not really. But if there's some defect in the part, if you just get a bad part, hopefully that'll go ahead and break in practice before you get to the match.
Yeah.
But that's gear. But one other thing I'll add is I would go ahead and be super OCD about logistics, your travel, how you're getting there, your lodging, your food situation. Try to plan all that out in advance so that I can just relax and enjoy myself while I'm there, not really have to worry about the stupid non-shooting stuff. I just want to have to worry about the shooting stuff once I get there.
All right. Joel, how do you get your ammo to the match?
A mule. If you have a friend that's driving there and they're like, hey, here, why don't you just take my ammo as long as you're driving? Like for nationals, I'm in Nebraska, it's in Florida, so I will ship my match. Ship my ammo to the match. They will have an address for you to send it to. I ship it about 2 weeks before the match, so that way I want the ammo to be, I have a tracking confirmation, so I want to see that the match or that the ammo is delivered at the match before I leave my house. If not, I have a second batch of ammo ready to roll. So if that gets lost, and by the time I leave here, like it's lost, who knows, maybe, not sure, won't be, I would just ship another batch of ammo and not think twice about it, because I'm not going to get to the match and not have ammo. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take this one, but do you do any pre-match shooting when you get to Florida? And he put in parentheses warm-up matches. It's like, no, I do not. I have a pretty good range situation where I'm at. I do not need to fire bullets in Florida. I'm happy to shoot bullets wherever I am. So I would rather stay. I'd rather stay at home another day and shoot another day at my home range than fly to Florida and shoot there, quite honestly, because that's just going to introduce more logistical problems like, hey, how do I get ammo for training down there? Do I buy it? Do I ship it? What do I do? And then if there's any issues that require, I don't know, parts or, maybe I want to change guns. I don't know. If I shoot my guns a lot, I might have some maintenance issue, and that means I want to bring stuff for practice maintenance too. So I'm just going to practice at home, quite honestly. Okay, Wanzik, how do you warm up the day of the match?
Yes. So there's a couple almost religiously I do. So in the morning of, I wake up 3 hours before the shooting time. So if I'm shooting AM, let's say the shooting time starts at 8 o'clock, then I'm waking up at 5, at least, maybe early. Oftentimes pressure wakes me up earlier. But when I wake up in the 3 hour time, first thing I do is I foam roll and massage kind of thing and stretch so my muscles not tight. Oftentimes after day 1, day 2, I might feel tightness on my leg or my forearm especially, then I make sure I'm not tight anymore. And then the second thing I do is I drink, often I drink omega-3 drinks or a pill of omega-3 that keeps my eye not dehydrated at the match. And of course, eat some meal, a lot of eggs and turkey breast kind of thing. And then at the match, what I do is if the range has like a practice bay handy, then I might go there and then shoot a couple mags, not too many rounds, but maybe 2 mags, 3 mags. If they don't have it, I just dry fire a couple times in the safety area. And that's basically end of my warm-up for the match.
Okay.
Yes.
Tyler, how do you stay focused and energized for a 3-day match?
Caffeine. I mean,
Caffeine or cocaine, one of the two.
Yeah.
Whoa, Joel, I did not see that coming. It's a major shift from you, my man.
No, caffeine for real, but it needs to be consistent with your normal routine. If you come in and you normally drink 1 cup of coffee, and instead you say you wake up the day of the match and you drink 3 cups, or you drink 3 Red Bulls instead of your normal 1, that's a recipe for disaster and jitters. So try to keep the caffeine consistent with your normal habits. One thing I like to do instead of drinking, slamming an energy drink or a big thing of coffee is low dose caffeine throughout the day. The Real Tea, Pure Leaf, or something like that, it's got a pretty high caffeine content. I'll just sip on a large bottle of that throughout the day, and that works pretty well. But apart from stimulants and substances, I think the key is in the balance. You cannot be turned on all day long for 3 days in a row. I think you have to develop the ability to turn it on when you need to, which is during your preparation and your walkthrough and your visualization for a stage, and turn it off when it's not needed. Like if you're walking between bays, like your head down and you're at like 100% mental capacity, like you're going to kill yourself. You're going to fry your brain and, your body really too. That's not sustainable. So I would say learn when to switch on and when to switch off.
All right, good. Well, guys, look at that. We covered all the questions real quick, like. So well done. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. I think what kind of podcast was it, Joe? It was a good podcast.
It was a bang-up podcast, as usual.
That's your catchphrase, baby.
I think that was your catchphrase, but...
You took it, so now it's yours. Thanks. Don't say I never gave you anything. All right.
too
Thank you,
kind.
Joel. Thank you, Tyler. And Juanzik, thank you so much for coming on. If you want to have your question discussed, go to benstecker.com. Send me your question. If you want a quicker answer, go to practicalshootingtraininggroup.com and sign up for that shit. You'll get an answer from, from Juanzik or I, at least, in short order. So there you go. That's the sales pitch for the day, guys.